Hey everybody, welcome to the Commando cast. I am Mike.
And I'm Andrew, and this is episode 50.
Woo! Did it!
So you guys hopefully have one as well. In fact, if you don't, hit that pause button and go get one and sit back and enjoy episode 50 with us, because today we are talking primes and all the stuff that we might see. Alright guys, so today Mike and I want to talk about the upcoming Prime season, which are starting very, very shortly. So actually, is yours the first weekend of Primes, right?
Correct. October 5th is the very first available weekend. I think there's a dozen or so scattered across the nation.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, with the changes announced, Matt Holland dropped the note that we have changes expected.
It's a very wordy post, by the way. I mean, it was explained a lot. It was
question: Matt Holland, are we expected to see changes before Primes? Yes.
And so we're in the position where the question was Worlds, which is the 17th, that weekend of the 15th.
It doesn't actually start on like Thursday.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's a big fun weekend that I'm totally not going to because I'm a total loser. But it does go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the question was, will we see an RRG update prior to that, which directly affects the first Prime week, the 5th, and since there'll probably be one on the 5th, I think there's some on the 12th, and then there are none for the weekend of Worlds, right? Sure. So we potentially could have two Prime weekends that may or may not be affected. So if these changes, which we have no idea, if these changes are coming, like Matt Holland said they would be, if they're soon enough, both of the first two primes would be affected. And if they come too late, which my date, I believe, is the 27th. It has
your cutoff date.
My cutoff date is the 27th. I'll check my math. Maybe the 25th.
Doesn't sound right.
25th. Yeah. So, like, if changes don't come before that, then because of the nature of the prime, it would not
because it's a premiere event.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
Is it still called a premiere?
No, I don't
event?
think it is anymore. Yeah, I think they changed it, but it still falls underneath that same rule.
Right.
Like you have to give it the full 11 days. So, that's kind of what I want to talk a little bit about is knowing that Prime season is coming. There's going to be a lot of possibility for us to play, even for us stuck out here on the West Coast, right? We have 2 in the Portland area, 2 in the Seattle area, and then 1 in Idaho, if you are so inclined.
Is it in Boise?
It is. I think it's at Phoenix Fire again, which is in
Meridian. People, like, if you have a chance, you should go to Boise. It's actually a pretty cool city.
And I've heard that store is pretty cool. And that group is, like, don't think you're going to roll up into the Boise group and take their trophy, because they'll probably kill you for it.
I hear they don't know the rules very well out there, though.
Those guys, golly, I can't. They're real good. They routinely make the trip here and take us to the dumpster and put us in.
So just for those of you who don't know, the rules was a joke because Gandorf's from Idaho.
So that's kind of like, so with the season coming up here and all of these possibilities of play, my first question is, do you see yourself making it to all 5? What's your plan?
No, I don't.
What's your over under? Like over under 3 go.
I'll probably go to 3.
You can't push.
What's that?
You can't push. It's over or under, not 3.
Oh, then under.
Okay, so
yeah,
much more likely 2 than 4. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I am counting as my going to being the one that I'm
correct, right? Yeah, because you're marshalling the one the 5th, so that one is a freebie. Right. You do get that one for sure.
Yeah, that one counts. So
you potentially can only really play in a single prime. There's the potential.
Yeah. I mean, I'll play in one just because I want to.
Sure.
But I probably won't travel for. I mean, you know me. Like, I
know you're such a homebody.
I don't travel.
Yeah. I love Washington. I'm coming up there and I'm gonna make the cut this time, guys. It's gonna happen. Yeah. No, I'll be at both.
Pretty sure there's some 3-man meta, or sorry, some dice of failure guys. I call you 3-man meta because the dice laid out.
3-man meta.
It's like the same. No, it's the same color scheme, right?
It's just 2018. Come on, man.
Yeah, no joke. No, but the dice of failure guys up there with their fat vehicles to throw at you. Yes. So that's something to say about that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, but
okay. So let's talk about. So we know the schedule is going to be from October 5th, and I believe the final one is sometime in March. And I don't remember if it's the middle or the end of March. So what that means for us is if these changes happen, which again we don't know the date. We conceivably could have half the prime, and this actually made me very happy if half the primes were on the Spark of Hope meta with changes, right? And then Christmas happens, and then on January 1st we get a new set because that is exactly they said it was going to be quarter one, and I expect it on January. I'll give them the second, please. Yeah,
whatever that Friday is.
Yeah. So all the primes following that would be under a new set with all new characters and all new toys to play with, and that is very exciting to me.
So that would actually change my answer because if there was a prime, it's like the best prime to go to for me would be like my favorite prime to go to would be like the prime the weekend immediately after the new set becomes legal.
And I'll be at the beer tables if you need me.
And don't get me wrong, like especially with how hungry we are for new content right now and the way TTS works, like we will have already flushed out like the early meta by then, right? It's not like we're cowboying up here, but I still think it'd be pretty fun.
They're always, even with when we're spoiling it for ourselves and the competitive players are proxying and stuff. I still feel like there's nothing like going through a month and a half of locals, right, and then getting with your team and sitting at the pub and just grinding those games out. And I feel like if you remember the first the prime that we had in Portland in 20.
Oh, the Galactic Qualifier.
No, the first one we had at Johnson's at the school.
Oh, the regional.
The regional. Sorry, the regional we had at the school, and that was right when Legacies. If I remember right, wasn't it like Legacies had come out, but the starters hadn't?
I didn't. Yes, that's right.
Do you remember like the amount of spice that came out of that?
So no, because I didn't go to that.
Oh, you didn't.
I don't know. I don't remember why.
Okay, yeah, but I will tell you that was one of the most fun regionals, big tournaments I've ever been to because the amount.
Well, that was the Hondo Po. That was where Hondo Po came out of nowhere,
and the Idaho guys,
which I still felt so bad about, right? Because I don't remember why I couldn't go to the regional, but we all met the night before and we were doing like some slam play testing.
Over Eric's house.
I actually took apart my Po Hondo deck to make a Po Yoda deck so I could throw more of like the meta stuff at you guys, and then you guys got tore up by Po Hondo the next day, and I was like,
taken to the house.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, but that was an exciting time because the meta was so fresh, and there was such a buzz in that room. We had close to 100 people at that prime. At that regional at the time, and it was just such a buzz. And I think if they can get a set out in early January. And there are a set of primes I think there's one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh my gosh! Talk
fantastic.
About a re-energizing of the player base. So I'm very excited about that.
That'll be like several hundred people watching streams type of stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's I'm very excited about that. Now, obviously, not everyone can travel to every prime, right? So one thing I'd like to encourage the group to do, like our friends that are watching right now, is if there is a stream of those primes, get on the streams, watch them, get the viewership up, comment, and then specifically make sure the people that are spending their hard-earned money and their time producing that stream, make sure they know that you love them and that you appreciate that, because I know there's a lot. Streaming can do so much for the life of a game, and I've not learned it, but I was reminded of it this weekend. We have another game that we play called Argent Saga, and a few weeks back there was a tournament, a big championship tournament that was streamed. That had a really well done stream, and between rounds they took the opportunity to show simple interactions of the cards. Like, here's a 2-card combo that you can play. Like, and here's the developer's favorite card from the set. And then there was a video made that they put in there that was, here's the basic rules of the game. Like, kind of introducing to the lore of the world. Like, it was just such an opportunity to grow the game. So I think streaming will help us continue to grow because Destiny is a striking game on the table. Like,
oh, absolutely.
To this day, after 3 years after release, still people come up to us when we're sitting at Super Play.
Yep, just this week.
Right. Yeah. What are you guys playing? What are you playing? We'll be at Old Chicago. How many times have we have someone come
all
by?
the time.
Yeah.
What are you guys
playing? Magic. What are you guys playing? Right. So, a lot of these primes will be streamed. Check them out. Make sure you send some love to those folks that are doing it.
Now, and your prime will be streamed by who?
No one. Well, so there's a. We're hoping that the gentlemen from Bellingham, the Dice of Failure, are going to.
Oh, I thought that was certain. Oh, okay, that's
so
my bad. That's my bad.
But I'm sure they won't mind. Like they are streaming at Worlds, and they're hoping that to give it a kind of a test run, like equipment at the 5th, which is our prime. So that'd be cool. All the best games though will be recorded and shown on the dice.
All the top ones.
Yeah, all the
top table games. Those are the best games.
Best games. Yeah, but so there will be plenty of content to take in. We'll have hopefully a live stream going on, recorded games. I don't know if you're gonna do commentary on them or not, but there will be some games to watch. So get that stuff in, and it's a really good way to get a feel. So some of you may have never done a prime before because it's been a while since we've had things to play for. We had no store championships. Am I right?
Correct.
Yeah.
This round.
So if you weren't lucky enough to make it,
last store championships we had was Way of the Force meta.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yep.
Jeez. So if you weren't lucky enough to make it to Gen Con, if you weren't crazy enough to make it to Nova, right? You have had zero big
or European championships.
Yeah, So I'm sorry not to be an Americanist, but like in the
or
US,
in Canadian nationals.
Yeah, unless you've had the be lucky enough to be in these areas, you haven't had much to play for. So those of you who are maybe a little afraid, like, ooh, this primes are an excellent way.
Primes are great.
Yeah, they're pretty casual. Like,
I don't know if I'd go pretty casual in the grand scheme of things, but like
setting your expectations.
Right. It's not like you're going to nationals or something.
Yeah, you're not going to be playing for. Most likely, you're not going to be playing for 12 hours. I mean, because you're probably not making the cut.
I mean, the real thing to take away from a prime is that they prize out the top 64.
Yeah.
So as long as you price in the top 64, like you got, especially this time, you got some pretty sweet promos.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think they're beautiful.
No, they're. There's no doubt they're beautiful. Yeah. Like the 64 ones are, the 32 ones where they become plastic are great.
And I'd say a lot of places do not only what the kit prizes were. I had the privilege of driving up to Olympia, Washington. There's a store there, Gabby's. Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, Gabby was so nice to like. She did not expect the turnout that we had for our regional there. Like, we traveled up. A couple of the Suburban Dice Commandos made the trip up there, and did not expect the turnout that she had. It was full. Like, we were full in there, and she was just like, free box. Just give it away.
Because she made way more than she thought.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know her business, but it was like just that most of the stores are doing a little something extra because honestly, a lot of these stores are having to vie for people's attention.
Sure,
and that's a good segue. I want to talk to you about. So, you as someone who may or may not go to more than one, there are so many primes compared to. I don't think there's twice as many, but I mean, a lot of areas that had one now have two, right? So like if Portland had one, now has two. Seattle had one, has two, and I bet we could probably go across the metro areas and find that same sort of dynamic. So
I know there's because I heard complaints about it. There's some areas out there that have like upwards of like 5, and there's others that don't, and it really just boiled down to who applied and who didn't.
Right. So my question to you is, and it does having more primes make you more likely to go or less likely to go?
I don't think it changes. Like when I think about it versus a prime or a store championship, like it doesn't really change. Like I didn't go to every single store championship. I mean, because I won early, so I didn't need to. But like I still wouldn't have gone to every store championship we had. Because every shop in Portland had a store championship.
And 2 of them had them on the same stupid day.
And it was like, we had like 7 or 8 store championships. Like, I'm not going to go to all that. Like, some people probably will, but I don't think anybody went to all of them. Oh, you did? Okay, fair.
I think I went to all. I think
no, because you weren't at the one that I won, which is why I won.
Obviously, did you win at Gunga? I can't remember.
No, I won at Bunsen.
Oh, you won at Bunsen? Yeah, dude. Sandy's in another state. Are you kidding me? Sorry, Sean. We love you guys, but bro,
they throw sweet turnies.
They do throw sweet turnies.
All right, so you had some other questions for me, so let's move this along.
Okay.
So you basically said with the changes coming,
yes.
right? So we already talked about the set-to-set changes, but the question you had for me was, with the changes coming as promised by Matt Holland,
yes.
what do we expect?
Correct, yes. So what is about to happen?
And not specifically what changes do we expect to see,
because we don't know.
What do we... Well, and, even if... I mean, there's always a delay between our recording and posting, and could very easily release 10 minutes after we record this, and we look like idiots.
Promise you, that's
it's certainly going to happen. Right? We're like, we can't count on FFG to get anything out on time, but the minute we record, it's stale.
Right.
So anyway, so with the changes coming, what do we expect to happen to the meta?
Right. So we are not Nostradamuses. Nostradami? I don't even know what plural that is, but.
I don't think that needs to be plural.
Right. If we can ascertain from what's happening that the decks that are now the alpha decks, the ones that are at the top 2 or 3 decks, are probably going to see some sort of reduction in power. Right. That's logical.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
I mean, we already talked about in a previous episode. It sounds super sexy to do point cost reductions. Aside from potentially removing Phasma from Balance of the Force, there's we're probably not going to Balance of the Force negative in Standard. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, as much as I would like it.
Right.
We'll probably
so
see that.
when I say removing from Balance of the Force, I mean removing Phasma from the list
from 14 back to her printed
versus
13.
adding someone to the list with negative values. Right. So those are two very different things. So errata-ing at this point, balancing Phasma at this point is not a reduction; it's a removal.
Right.
Right. Whereas I don't expect to see anybody negatived. Right, in Standard. So let's go off that assumption. No one in Standard. The Phasma thing I want to talk about, because if that happens, that has huge implications.
Oh,
huge implications for aggro.
It opens up so much for aggro, yeah.
And then you're absolutely correct. They're going to nerf the top stuff, but I don't think they touch Raylo. It's their poster child. They're not going to touch
So does that... So, I mean, Raylo...
Nor do I think it needs
spoilers, it. Raylo's really good in the hands of a good player, by the way. Does Raylo then become our okay, this is... But does Raylo become a tier 1? If
So it's interesting you say that. So I was listening to the Dice of Failure's latest podcast, and I actually highly recommend you guys go check it out. It's Dice of Failure at Podbean.
Yeah.
Their latest cast was, is there a tier 1.5 anymore? And basically, they took on all the content creators. They said, screw you guys, you're all wrong, you're all idiots. There is no tier. It's the meta is not diverse, the meta is diverse, whatever, right? But basically what they said is, sure, it's a diverse meta, but only at the top. And basically their argument is that there's there's more decks than we normally see at the top, but there's no contenders.
Right. Everything
below.
is such a divide below.
So basically their argument, I mean, they didn't say this, but basically what they're saying is that we have kind of a mushroom where we have a wide top and then there's just nothing below it. And I thought it was a very interesting argument because if we do see nerfs, because I think a lot of people would assume that Raylo's kind of like the tier 1.5 right now, because that's what you were basically just saying,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
If we do see a nerf, I mean, I don't think Raylo gets touched because I don't think it needs it, and I don't think they would. Because, what are you going to do? Make Raylo unplayable? That's the only thing.
Yeah, it is the most fair of the good decks.
But it's not. It also cheats, which is why it's good. It cheats because it rolls its dice in multiple times, right? I mean, okay. It's not actually cheating,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right. I mean that's the reason it can compete is because it does unfair things. Right. I mean it does unfair things fairly. Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Should get that a t-shirt. Pretty good.
We'll add that to our list of t-shirts
that we're never gonna make.
Right. So
do you feel then that Raylo then ascends?
Well, I mean, my point is it would have to, because there's going to be some sort of droid nerf. There has to be. I mean, there doesn't have to be, but if there's going to be something, it's going to be something with the droids. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it actually is Satine instead of one of the droids. I could see that happening, because Satine is really good at 10 points.
You can put her in anything. She just makes everything better.
It would be sad to see Satine get hit, because I think the Mace Satine deck is pretty fun.
I don't think that. I don't personally think that's going to happen.
No, I mean, I think it's more than likely that R2 or 3PO gets hit.
Sure.
I don't think Fateful Companion is going to get hit, even though I think that's the right move. But
right.
I don't know. And then I think something's going to happen with Watt whether he gets extra points or whether they do, and maybe it's not Watt, maybe it's somehow there's an interaction with Watt where it's only red, or you have to do the Vader's Fist thing to do it.
Sure.
Or maybe they just do something with like where they like restricted list some of the Unholy Trinity.
Right.
Maybe that's the more simple, elegant solution. I don't know. Right.
Yeah. But, they hate changing cards. Like that's kind of like their.
But so I mean, I just threw out a lot of things there, but fundamentally we're talking about doing something to the Jabba support deck, something to the droid supports in some fashion. Maybe it doesn't hit them as bad if it's just restricted because you don't have to worry about Fist and Megas.
Right.
But if they do end up throwing off if they balance the force one of the droids, depending on who it is and how they do it, it could throw off that balance to where you have to run like a 4-die. But then if you're running a 4-die, you're probably running Fateful, which probably doesn't hurt you that bad.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Is I look at a 1-point hit on one of the droid, like R2 or C-3PO.
It just throws you into Fateful.
Yeah, I'm like, that's really not that bad. Like, I mean, it is bad. It's still going to see, but maybe that's the key to a really good nerf. Is it just takes it down a hair and it still stays playable. And that's if you're going to try to balance the game to make that mushroom more of a can, right? Like, so there's more like possible.
Well, I mean, I think ideally it'd be like a pyramid.
Yeah, right? That's what I mean. If you're gonna do that, like, I don't want to see things become unplayable. Like that's really I think that's an overreaction sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that supports will ever become unplayable. Like, I mean, think about it, right? Alex has bought 0 at Spark of Hope, and he's still doing quite well in this meta playing the Jabba support deck, right?
Right.
But in that meta, Amy was tearing people up with her Talzin Watto Watt deck, right? So, and then that's 1 point. You have 1 point of flexibility there. So if, let's go ahead and say that they give, it'd have to be Watt in that scenario.
Right.
So let's go ahead and say they balance Watt, then don't you just drop Jabba, say screw you Delve, and kind of decrease your cost, and then go Watto, Watt, Sentinel. Right. I mean,
and I think that I would be as a person.
It's a little less effective.
Balance, it's less effective, especially since they balanced Watto to be able to hit it with non-blue events. So,
that's true. I did forget about that.
I do want to talk a little bit about Raylo, where if Raylo becomes ascendant, right, to this, and Raylo is really hard to play, and I think that's why a lot of people don't play it in hard competition because I feel like it played at a high level. It's really strong. Like it has very few weaknesses. But there are a lot of cards out there, right, that are printed right now that are legal. That if you as a Raylo player ran into them, it could end your day. It could end your game. And I'm talking about Galactic Deception. Mm-hmm. If you've ever seen that card played on a Raylo player, it's a hard stop. Intimidate is still a card. Frighten is still a card. Like these are unblockable.
Well, and those are all cards that you can play in Raylo too, which is interesting.
Yeah. But, does that then become like a big Raylo off where it's all anti-Raylo?
And that would actually be worse because that would actually restrict, like, nobody wants to see Raylo offs forever, right?
I think if of all the offs, Raylo off seems like it might be fun.
So let's actually shift that a little bit and go into, because we talked already about Phasma, right? So because what doesn't exist in the meta as we exist today is aggro.
Villain. Yeah, Vinny. There's some droid aggro, but yes.
And by aggro, I mean like pure aggro.
Right.
It doesn't really exist today,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with talking about Phasma, the easiest one to go to, and I'm not saying this is the end-all, right? But the easiest one to go to is IG-88 Phasma.
So
right?
good.
That can burst a droid off the table real quick.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and can do wide damage, like, too. It solves some of that problem of,
sure.
Like, I've only got 2 characters and you have 3, so you're going to win. Like, IG-88 can balance that out pretty easily.
Yeah. So I think that is really the go-to, or not the go-to, but I think that's really the threat of the changing meta is what can be done or what would happen if something changes that aggro suddenly becomes playable.
I'm so excited about that. Like there is many things that I like about having aggro in the meta. Like I think it adds it opens up more playability for newer players, which I think is like a good thing. Like if I could have a new guy who comes to a store championship, like I want to be able to hand him a Phasma and a IG88 and go, you know what? Just go shoot some people.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's super healthy. And having a 13-point like villain aggro character, it just we just thought of one, right? But I mean that doesn't even count.
No, I mean I'm not even throwing. I'm just saying like that's the easiest one to go to, right? No, and again, yeah. So I mean I had been playing that Rainbow Hask, right? I mean you would basically swap in Phasma there,
right? Absolutely.
And then the other question though is, does then if aggro becomes stronger, does Mill pop up again?
Yes, and that I also, as much as I hate Mill, I think having Mill completely absent right now from a competitive standpoint, I don't think that's cool either. I think there should be a little bit of Mill. I think you should have to contend with some Mill.
I don't know. I think there is a Mill, like Eric's Chopper Mill deck's pretty good.
It's pretty good, but it can't. The problem is it's not in that mushroom, right? It consistently loses to Jabba. It consistently loses to any sort of droid variant.
Why does it lose to Jabba?
Because all it needs is a couple supports out, and the game is just over. And with Mill, the problem with Mill all the time is that it not that it never wins, but it's less than 50% to win against any meta deck. The problem is inherently with Mill is you can never you never keep the opponent from working at maximum efficiency on their character at their character level. You never kill anyone, so all their dice are always in play, and you have to spend your resources to remove them. Right, so if you don't have a way, if you don't pull a way to deal with a Mega Blaster troopers, which Hero Mill does not. Like I mean, short of a Flames of the Past or I guess they could play Dismantle, right? I mean, but it's just not. It's just in that bottom half, and I feel like there needs to be a little bit of Mill in the top to kind of even things out. And I think if there is a nerf to that stuff, I do think you see a Mill come back.
Well, if aggro comes back, Mill comes back.
Right. Correct.
I think. So, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Right.
So back to Prime, the Prime season. So the most interesting part about Primes for me is how there really is there is a potential to have actually two Prime seasons, complete and separate, like where you have a break at Christmas time, and then there's one in old meta, and maybe there's a set in the middle of January, and then there's still.
I hope. Right. I honestly do hope.
Right.
Like
maybe there is like, what is that? 5, 7, 8 weeks of primes.
You know what would have been really cool is if instead of Christmas being the split, Worlds was the split.
Yeah. That's a whole. There's potentially, if Matt hadn't made that announcement today, right, the RG, there was a potential for U.S. Grand, Nationals, was that right? No, Continental, National, and Worlds all on the same meta, and that would have been like boring.
Well, and to be fair, nothing's happened yet. So
yeah, but I take this guy's word.
No, there's no reason to not believe that they wouldn't try to do something, right?
This guy's been nothing but solid so far, Matt. Like he appears to be the only person who's really interested in talking to us. So at this point, he has not said anything that has been not true.
No, that's fair. So all right. So the last question that you had for me, at least before we started, was with so many primes, does it devalue a prime?
Right. Do the prices become like
the prizes? Yes.
Are the people in February in March going to have a harder time getting people at their primes than I am going to be on the 5th?
It depends on the set release to that, but if it's all on the same meta, then yes. Like, how many Raylo promos do you need? Like,
right. That's the real. Now there is I think there's a. There's no world. Is there a Worlds seat? In a prime victory now?
I don't know. You're running primes.
Yeah. If that is the case, if there is a prime, because the next Worlds, not the one this October, which I want to talk about as well, but the next prime. This is gonna be a long cast. I'm sorry. So the next prime will be an invite.
Episode 50 and 51.
Yeah. The next prime will be an invite only. Right. So if that is the case,
the next Worlds
will be invite only. So if these primes, if they have a World seat in them for the winner. I think that will maybe drive some attendance as people try to get there, like to it. The Worlds that it's about to happen in October of this year, 2019. Matt Holland has stated that they have over 500 people registered for Destiny. He announced that today as well.
Game's dead.
Yeah, game's dead. I'm so salty that I'm not going to this. Not that I could win, or I'm just.
What are you salty about?
I want to go. I wish I could go. I can't go. I didn't. There was some life stuff happening when the planning stages were happening that I couldn't do, and I want to go. Someone told me this week that I should crowdfund, like send random scrub to Worlds.
You'd probably get money.
Yeah, but
that one guy held up a sign that said "Pay me free beer" and he made like $8,000.
Right, but as much as I'd like to go, I'm salty about not going, and it's not because Boo Mike, but what an excellent expression of what a great game that we play is. That all these people, even though we've been kind of shat upon like this last few months, and we, not you and me, but we the community, in spite of all these things, have made a great community of people and that enjoy each other, that are willing to go 500 at a time to a hall and sweat on each other, and there's no one there's very few nasty people that play this game. Like I play a lot of Destiny, and this game just attracts like cerebral, kind people, like in general. So I'm a little salty that I'm not going for that. But so if 500 people want to go this year, and the game's not dead, next year those same 500 people are going to want to go. But guess what?
You got to win to get there.
That's
an interesting point.
So I'm hoping that
it's just not really interesting. It's an accurate and fair point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of sad at the same time, because that means there's a lot of people who want to go who don't go. Now, X-Wing does it right. X-Wing does at their Worlds. They have invite only, but then they have a giant tournament that happens before Worlds. So it's like that 4-day thing. They have
so you can still go be a part of the thing.
Well, they also have it's a last chance qualifier. So the argument is,
so you just got to buy your ticket.
Come on in, play this tournament, and if you top or whatever it is, you get to go play the Worlds the next 2 days. And if you don't, then we're gonna have side events.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's still like an event, and I hope that's the tact that FFG takes. I mean, why wouldn't we trust that they have good judgment at this point to do something like that? So,
well, I mean, X-Wing's their game.
Yeah, it's their baby. Yeah,
I'm saying like it's the same company. Like it's pretty easy to copy paste.
And they like treat all the games the same. So I'm totally
I'm just saying like
okay,
it's the same people,
right?
So
yeah, I'm just to break it down. Very excited about Prime season. I think this is an excellent opportunity to get the base excited about playing the game again. Safety tip for you that maybe are just becoming competitive or haven't done a Prime or a regional before: set your expectations properly.
Like, sure.
We've talked about this many times. Like, I don't think it's healthy for you to go, if I don't win this Prime, I'm disappointed. Because there's going to be 99 other people there's going to be 99 people or 79 people or whatever that number is that don't win. Only one guy, girl, or person gets to win that Prime. So go there to have fun and play 8 rounds of Destiny. And if you get lucky and you brought the right deck and you put the right reps in, you might make the cut.
Yeah.
You probably will make the cut if you got lucky and you put the right reps in. Unless you're me, in case you'll miss the cut every time. But anyway, yeah, I know. Well, at least I didn't totally go 8-0 in the.
No, so and actually to add on to that, right? So if you do go to a Prime, and we were talking already about the top 64, like I think the top 64, making top 64 at a Prime, I think is like the fundamental goal, right? You want to get a prize league.
Most people are going to get that just by showing up.
Most people will,
right?
But it's at the Portland Regional, we've seen up in the hundreds.
Sure.
There are people who don't, right? So if you go and you're having a bad day, still finish your games, because there's a lot of people that are going to. If you quit and you drop, you're not going to make top 64.
Right, yeah.
Right? Now, obviously, you don't care because you probably left 4 hours further handing the prizes out, so fair enough.
Right.
But even if you're having a bad day, like 1 or 2 wins can almost in most cases guarantee you top 64. Right? Because there's a lot of people that will drop, and maybe mathematically it's not one, or it's probably more than one, but like a couple wins are going to guarantee you the top. And like if you're having a bad day, like your day actually starts getting easier at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, you start getting to the beer tables, and you're playing against.
And then it's more fun anyway.
Right, you're playing against the kid who's like, "Yeah, I started playing last week." And you're like, "Oh, this could be really bad for you."
I actually never ever say that, because a lot of times that's when the guy gets rolled off the table.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, why don't you plug your Prime one more time since we're talking about it?
October 5th, Super Play, Smugglers Run Gaming Prime. There is a Facebook event out there for it if you are interested in coming. We are not asking you to pay ahead of time because we have, I don't want to say, we don't have unlimited seating, but I don't foresee us filling up the seating. So we made the call to, you pay at the door, just keep things simple. I would appreciate it if you are coming, if you would hit, there's a button there that says register, reserve your spot. If there is a reason that we do have to cut off registration, if you have not hit that button, your spot is not secure.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Unfortunately. So please do that.
However, I can almost promise you the fact that you're not taking money beforehand means that you're going to have a large number of people. Not large, but you're going to have some number of people who don't show up that morning just because they woke up sick or whatever, or they don't feel like it.
That's another bonus of having multiple primes is the Prime kit is not this huge financial burden to the store doing it anymore. So I think it kind of helps.
Gives you the flexibility.
Yeah, it gives us some flexibility. So please find that. I know there's some people already flying in from Southern California. To take part, they've registered and some rather large, some very competitive,
some big names.
Yeah, some celebrities in this as celebrities we can be. So I know Agent of Zion is considering coming, which hopefully you don't meet him at the top. And he's a very nice person, but hopefully you don't meet him in a game where there's cars on the line because he's probably going to kill you. But there's gonna be a lot of cool people. It's a great opportunity, so please come out and join us. And I'm hoping this is gonna be I'm hoping it's the biggest Prime that we have until the second Portland one. That Sean, Portland Game Store, Artificery guys are running. So one of the things that we're doing is if we're going to be giving away two free entries to that Prime.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Prime.
That's cool.
Yeah, so come, and even if you we're going to have
that's just door prize.
Door prizes. Yeah, we're talking. We're going to have play mats and spot glosses and just all kinds of stuff. We're actually going to probably have a side event for those people that don't make the cut.
We're going to probably. There's a side event. There's
a side event. Yeah, it's going to be some sort of sealed. We haven't got the details down yet. So we're hoping to have a really good time, and we hope you can join us. So thank you for and also thank you for marshalling, by the way. So it's been we've actually it's harder than you think. Even from a TO standpoint, top 64 sounds really cool until you realize you have to hand out 64 prizes. Like
to the right people.
To the right people. Yeah, that's like super hard. So make sure you give your TO and your marshal some love at the Prime that you're at.
Yeah, just not during the middle of a game when we're
yes, please. Yeah, and also, 50 is kind of a big deal.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to thank you for kind of bringing me on this ride, and I know I'm definitely the face and the talent of this group, but Andrew does all of the heavy lifting, all the production, the hardest part. I get to go home and hang out with my kids, and he gets to go up to the salt mine and produce the stuff. So congratulations, my friend.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, enjoy your guys' Prime. Anything to add?
Nope. Go Commando.
Go Commando.